Great to see you, Dr. Ingles.
Nice to see you, brother.
Thanks for spending time with us.
Of course.
Here. So tell me a little bit about like the journey you've been on. You're a household name as it relates to spine and deformity, but like, where did it start? Like, where did you get that? I want to be a surgeon, or I want to be a doctor. Can you go back to when that aha moment was?
Yeah. So I was living in California. I went to Berkeley for undergrad. And I figured out I wanted to go to med school. I was really excited about it, but I hadn't done all the pre-work for it. And so I got a job as a cell salvage technician. I was running these cell saver machines, private company at the time doing it. And so I went and got to work at UCSF and Kaiser Oakland and these big centers. And they put me in the operating room for trauma surgery, vascular, neurosurgery, ortho, general, everything. And as soon as I was in the spine room, I was like, this is the coolest thing on the planet, man. I just loved it. And I went in with guys like Chris Ames and Sig Bervin, Serena Hu, Joe Gorick, and I just was like, this is it. This is what I want to do, 100%. And so then I was very lucky because then I could be laser focused all through my training of like, I want to be like these guys.
That's awesome. Do you think that that is more the exception or the norm?
Oh no, it's an exception for sure.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I train residents and fellows now, and I got people in their third and fourth year of residency stuff, but I don't know what I want to do. I like joints, I like spine, I like sports. And they're like, when did you decide? I'm like, dude, I decided before I ever even went to med school. I knew it. So it's the exception. There are select few people who know they want to do spine, you know, at the beginning of their training. It's pretty rare.
And so how has that shaped your practice? Like back then, not trying to put words in your mouth, but did you understand the difference in deformity versus MIS versus?
No, but it has shaped my practice because of the kinds of cases I was in so long ago that I said, wow, these reconstructions are awesome. You know, pulling the spine into new shapes, big giant incisions. And so that was where I wanted to end up. Yeah. And that remains my focus. So I was never going to be that MIS guy who's doing all endoscopy. Right. But that's a super important part of spine. But as spine grows, it's almost like we're becoming sub-specialized within spine. Oh, yeah. There's people like Larry Lanke who do all big, complex open reconstruction. And there's people that do all minimally invasive endoscopic. And of course, the masses, though, do some combination of some MIS and some open. So it's rare that someone's sitting on the periphery that does all one thing.
So what is your practice, given those kind of guardrails? Like when you're telling someone, here's who I am, or here's the pathologies that I treat.
So at Brown, we've really subspecialized. So I got partners that do MIS. I got partners that do big complex. Ironically, I actually do live in the middle a little bit, that I do a fair amount of degenerative spine work. Open, I don't do MIS, but then I am fully capable, of course, of doing big complex reconstructions. And we really believe in two-surgeon approach, so often if we're doing a 3-column osteotomy or big surgery, I have one of my complex partners help, and we just, you know, hammer out the case as efficiently as possible.
Those have been some of the best rooms I've had the privilege of being in when you got the dual surgeon. It's just 1 + 1 is a lot more than 2.
Oh, no doubt, because there's a lot of, even for the very experienced spine surgeon, there's a lot of stress when you're doing a big complex case. Say, I don't want to hurt this person. I want to get them through safely. You know the stakes are high, and to have everything perfect, you know, you want your good anesthesia team, you want your good nurse, your good scrub tech, your good rep, everything. To have a good person on the other side of the table takes a lot of stress off the case.
Yeah. How do you know if you're doing a good job?
Oh, it's patient outcomes, no matter what. That's what matters. If you, like, I had clinic yesterday. All my patients are doing well. Not one disaster. You know, not a bad PJK, no draining wounds, no infections, no patient who says, like, I wish I never did this. Now, in spine, we all have that. There's no way around it. But to me, I think the surgeon should just weigh themselves based on how are your patients doing. Now, there's much more sophisticated ways than just the surgeon walk out of a clinic, go, that was a good day.
Right.
You know, you really need to actually measure your patient outcomes with patient-reported outcomes, radiographic outcomes, reoperation rates. But to me, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It's how your patients are doing. That's why we're all here, after all. And I'm not just saying me.
Yeah.
You.
Everyone.
Industry. The hospital systems. Really, we wouldn't be here without the patients. The patients wouldn't come to us if they weren't trying to get better. So hopefully, we all measure ourselves based on the same thing, which is how well our patients are doing. And then that, in turn, will supply and justify your business. So if you're a healthcare company, and let's say implant industry, if you're deliver products that help the patients do well, that will serve you well. That should be your guiding light long term. If you're selling garbage products, it might work for a while. It's shiny, it's new, if people like it, it will not last long term. And that's the most important thing, where some big hospital systems, they don't focus on quality. We really should all be focused on quality.
I'm really glad you just said that. That's how I had thought of my career. If the doctors that I supported, if their practice grew and they did good work by the patients, everything else is a byproduct.
100%.
Success, money,
100%.
whatever you want, fulfillment, it always starts with that patient. Because at the end of the day, like, and I'm personally, it's my feeling everyone should always be trying to sharpen their own saw.
Totally, of course.
You know?
I mean, if you're, let's say you're some surgeon who's a mid to late career and you're doing things the same way you trained in fellowship and your outcomes are noticeably worse than the other people in the community, you gotta bury your head in the sand to be a happy person, to wake up every morning and say, wow, I'm doing such a great job, and pat myself on the back. And people do that. And it's not just the surgeons, of course. It's healthcare systems. It's implant companies who are, are not innovating in a responsible manner. And that's the same for surgeons. It's very common. A surgeon comes out of training, they think they're a polished, finished product. That's not the case. And that's why meetings like this at ISDS are great. You go and you say, wow, that surgeon's doing this. Maybe I should really start modifying my practice. You measure those results, see if you're helping people more, and then you keep modifying throughout.
What are the next 5 years? I mean, no one has a crystal ball, but like, we're all trying to find out what's next. But in your eyes or in your OR, what's next?
Well, it's funny you say 5 years, because 5 years goes real fast, as you know. It's funny, sometimes you think, oh, 5 years from now. Man, you blink your eyes, it's 5 years from now. And I'm a young surgeon, I've been in practice around 10 years. So things have changed, but I think in spine, you're just gonna see, I'll call it slow, incremental improvement. A lot of people say like, oh, robots in spine are gonna change, revolutionize, or AI data. I don't think so. I think you'll just see slow improvements. I think the robots that come out will be quite helpful. Improvements in navigation will be helpful. Machine learning or AI and data will be helpful. But I think if you were to take a time machine to 5 years from now, you're gonna see spine surgery looks very similar with minor improvements in ERAS protocols, rapid recovery protocols for patients. Minor improvements and slightly better robots that can place screws even faster, even safer, help with decompressions and osteotomies. But you're not going to see the robot just going in and doing the surgery kind of thing.
What surprises you today about spine in 2025?
Oh, what surprises me is the quality of spine surgery in the community that still happens. It's still sitting back in kind of their 1990s, early 2000s, I'll say quality of spine. And I think it's surprising in that I don't think all spine surgeons are pushing themselves hard to do the best they can and use the best tools we have. And so that's what surprised me. I'll see some around there. Man, that surgeon might want to be updating their practice a little bit.
Do you see the way in which spine surgeons and the spine surgeon community as a whole, do you see changes there of how industry, I'm thinking of like direct to consumer information, education, like I don't know, but I'm just curious.
I think in spine in particular, the industry relationships are one of the primary ways that we actually educate surgeons. Think about lateral interbody fusion, XLIF with NuVasive. They worked hard to say, we're gonna teach a whole generation of surgeons a new way to do a spinal fusion, a lumbar spine. I give them credit. They did an awesome job. They got their teams together. They said, we're gonna teach people this new procedure with these, and they incrementally made improvements to that procedure. When I was trained on it, it was a 2-incision approach. You put your finger in the back and you touch your fingers.
Right.
And then they said, maybe we don't need to do that. We'll keep improving our monitoring and our retractors. And they worked to teach surgeons how to do it. And then of course the other companies followed suit. So I actually think in spine, more than many other medical subspecialties, the industry can work to help improve patient care. Like really, they can do it. And that's not the same if you're talking about surgeons who take out gallbladders and stuff. There's just not the same money that's there to have industry have the resources to then bring it back and deliver to surgeons. In spine, we're lucky. There's a lot of financial resource that the implant companies have. And so my hope over the next 5 to 10 years is that the implant companies will take a real interest in saying, no, we're gonna teach these surgeons to do a better MIS lift, better endoscopy, better robotic whatever, and that relationship can just grow together.
That's a wonderful and hopeful I would say future.
I'm an optimist.
I am too, but I was at NuVasive for 7 years, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It was safety, reproducibility, step by step, but it was only in concert together with surgeon community, because surgeons like to learn from their peers.
Absolutely.
It's my thought, not being a doctor, but any little change to your workflow has a massive risk on the back end.
Totally.
So is that why you come to these events, is to hear from these other doctors of what they're doing and like, right?
Of course. And like you said, surgeons like to learn from other surgeons who they respect, they look up to. So having a real honest discussion about that surgeon's outcomes, data, real cases, valuable. Showing disasters, extremely valuable, because you learn a lot from a successful case. You learn even more from a disaster. And then the last thing is, you are right that surgeons need to learn from other surgeons, but industry can help facilitate it, right? They may have to help with some of the organization, resources, et cetera, but then having a non-biased discussion where the surgeons are free to talk about whatever they want. Maybe they're showing cases from company X, even though company Y is paying. Ooh, who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It should just... It still benefits that company by knowing that they help support surgeon education.
I agree completely. I mean, that's one of the ethos of what I'm trying to do, is just give a forum for people to share information. We all get better. We all learn.
Absolutely. You know, we're lucky to be living in a time where we have information at our fingertips. It's all on the internet. You can access it 24 hours a day from your phone anywhere on the planet. That's what when I was training, everyone's like, you got to go do this fellowship at this guy, or you got to go do this fellowship. And I go, why? We're living in a totally different world. I'll watch all his videos. I'll read all his papers. I'll fly out there and do a visiting thing. I'll go to the conferences where he's talking.
Right.
So you can learn, back when I was going through, it was like ViewMedi was the big thing. I said, why? I watch all the ViewMedi videos. I don't have to go spend a whole year with this guy. I can learn from 20 different people that all have videos online. So I agree. I think what you're doing is extremely valuable. It is the future. We just have to figure out how to deliver it to people.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, man. It means a lot. And just really
have a great time.
Appreciate it. Right? Yeah, so I love it here. I love it here. Great to see you.
Thank you.